basically, guys, here's what we want to do. We want to, well, we've been given some questions, so we're going to answer them. We're not going to be short, so we're going to kind of let it take us wherever we want to go. But we're going to try and get through as many questions as possible. I'm Tom Wright, and this is Carl. And right, so the first question we've got, let me get it up, is from Ross. And this is going to be quite a good one. So he put this in earlier. Oh shit, I've lost it. Okay, here we go. What's the best mix of weights cardio? Take it away, Sunshine.
It depends really what it's for. So let's just assume we're talking for physique. That seems what everyone wants to do. So your weights cardio mix, really what you're trying to do is create an energy deficit at the end of the day. So if you're creating the energy deficit through dieting, let's say you want to drop, I don't know, let's say 500 calories a day. You might do some of that through food. You might want to do a little bit more of that through cardio. Cardio is only going to burn more calories. That's all it's there to do, to help with your conditioning. Your weights is what you're creating your stimulus with to keep the muscle at its fullest. The reason that we do weights when we're and lift heavy when we're dieting for a show is to keep your muscle full, keep it as big as it can be. You create a stimulus and something the muscle's got to react to stay at that size to cope with the stress. Adding in cardio, all you're doing is burning more calories. So arguably you don't have to have any cardio in, provided that you have enough of a deficit through your weight training and your diet.
Yeah. So I'd say, I reckon for your average person, for me, I'd always start with diet, because it's easier not to do something than it is to do something. So for example, it's easier to not eat 500 calories than it is to burn 500 calories doing cardio. And it's, well, I wouldn't say it's more fun, but it's obviously not doing something is a far more efficient way. And then that way you can introduce cardio, right? I mean, that's what I recommend. It's then a tool to have, because if you're doing both, you can't then add anything in further.
You've got nowhere to go. Say 6 weeks out, you're doing cardio 4 times a week for 30 minutes in the morning. Then you're weight training and you're in a deficit. Suddenly you've got to this level and you can't drop any further.
You're miserable.
And you're miserable. It's also an extra stress on your central nervous system unnecessarily, I would say, to begin with. If you're not competing for competition, let's say you just want to drop some body fat, most people, I would recommend doing 4 to 5 weight sessions a week, maybe 1 or 2 cardio if you want. Some you might like cardio, add that into just to stay healthy. I do cardio because I like to be fit. I like to be able to run. I don't want to be blowing.
I think that's another thing, is if you enjoy cardio, I mean, you've also got to just put your hands up, and if someone tells you that cardio is not the most effective thing for you to be doing, you've then got a trade-off. If you're continuing to do cardio and weights would be a better option, you've just got to accept that you might not get the results you want. I think also, though, because a lot of people initially start out as cardio as a form of weight loss.
Yeah.
And so that if you've come from that background, then you're going to want to put more emphasis on weights and get good at that and have cardio further down the line. However, if you're one of the people that believes that cardio is the devil and you've never done it, you might want to do it a little bit more. I mean, I personally am like Thomas and quite enjoy cardio. Also, it's more of a mindset tool as a physical one, and just getting moving for an hour and just getting the heart rate up. And I know that can happen in a weight session, but it's just a different stimulus, especially low intensity. It's less taxing. So really, I mean, it's a bit of a shitty answer, but it does depend on the situation. I'd always lean 99% of the time more weights to cardio. I think Tom's is a good example, 4 times a week. And you've got to bear in mind, cardio could be a walk on the beach in the weekend, or a stroll into the sunset, or sexual intercourse. It's anything that's,
well, we're talking hit or miss here.
Yeah, it depends on male or female. Okay, and another one. So I hope that helped, Ross. And another one from you, actually: essential supplements other than protein. I mean, I'm a minimalist when it comes to this, so I'll always start with, I love creatine. It's very cheap, very effective. Vitamin D, unless you live somewhere sunny. And
what, Central Africa is the only place you can actually get enough vitamin D.
I think it's anywhere north of I can't remember what it was now. Somewhere in Spain, and you just get insufficient vitamin D. So I'd always recommend that, and that can come with a multivitamin, or I'd recommend a multivitamin. And then on a dietary basis, if you don't eat loads of oily fish oil, I'd start there. That's it. And protein, I wouldn't even say is essential. I mean, I wrote a post on it recently. I'd say, like, if you're dieting and you're hungry a lot, then I wouldn't take a protein shake, because it's going to make you. I mean, you're going to use calories in liquid form rather than food form. But I think it is often regarded as essential because it is so cheap and easy.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people go for whey protein because they don't get sufficient amounts of protein through the diet when they first start training.
Yeah,
you might be eating Weetabix for breakfast. You have a snack of an apple or something through the day. Your lunch, you might have something that's got a bit of protein in it. Maybe for dinner, you're talking 2 portions of protein a day, when really you should be probably for weight training getting 3 or 4 at least.
Yeah.
So a lot of people start with a protein supplement to add that in. Not saying that that's what you should do, but I think that's why a lot of people go for whey protein in the first place. It kind of goes hand in hand with the gym. If you start weight training, everyone's going, well, I better get whey protein. Yeah,
and I don't think there's any essential supplement unless it's been prescribed to you by, for some disease or illness that you've got. I think that if you start viewing things as essential, in the sense that you have to have them, then it can get very confusing.
But I agree with you. I think my 5 that I would always recommend to clients: whey protein, creatine, monohydrate, though always creatine monohydrate. It's the only one that's actually been proven to work. No matter what anyone tells you, ethyl ester, all these things, creatine monohydrate is one to go for. Vitamin D3, multivitamin, and a fish oil, unless you're eating sort of 3 portions oily fish a week already, in which case it's probably not essential, but I think it's always good to have.
Always. And Tom's got to be careful because he likes the supplements.
Right. Always take Reflex as well.
Nice little plug in there. Although I did just try the new R-Bar cookies and cream. I had the chocolate brownie and it was good, but I think the cookies and cream was better, man. I'm not gonna lie. It was. I
can't remember if I was allowed that one or if the missus got it.
No, I'd say it was better. And I'm a chocolate, a Ben and Jerry's chocolate fudge brownie all the way. I would never go cookies and cream on that. But for some reason,
it is the best protein bar coming out in the market, isn't it?
It is good.
It's better than good.
I mean, apparently it's like Quest bars, but I haven't tried Quest bars.
Like what bars?
Quest bars.
Never heard of them.
No.
Nah. Right, let's get another question.
What's all this like putting them in the microwave and stuff? It's like, just. I mean, then you're losing the benefit of them having them on the go. If you start having to fucking cook,
take a microwave with you to have a protein bar.
It's like heating them up in the go. People like to make this complicated, don't they? Keep it simple.
I used to have to sit on them in the car to try and warm them up.
Really? Yeah. What's wrong with normal? So I'm just looking for another question here. What's wrong with the normally? Are they just not soft enough or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, sorry guys, I'm just looking for.
We should have written these down, really.
Well, I thought I was a bit more organised, but clearly I'm not. And I've completely forgotten where it is, so. You need a hashtag. That's a bit. That's our assistant over in the corner there, cooking dinner. Applications are being taken for future assistants. Wait, where's this gone? Sorry. This is going to be thrilling viewing.
Yeah.
Okay, we're in.
Right, let's talk. I think that's it. That's Yolosopher.
Yolosopher's come up with
of Podcasting Bro. Shout out to Podcasting Bro.
What's the best way to develop my medial glute? Well, you're always banging on about your ass, Tommy, so you can take this one. Especially in those freaking leggings. That's the point, ladies and gentlemen. Men and leggings. Where do we stand on this? I mean, leggings under shorts. If it's cold and it gives you some support.
It's my sprinting back.
Leggings without shorts.
Look, I say, if you fill them out, you fill them out, Tom.
I'm not
right, let's talk glute training then.
Okay.
There are some really good blogs on glute training. The obvious ones, Brett Contreras. There's a lot. When we think about glutes, everyone starts banging on about booty building and doing kickbacks and all these ridiculous things. I've never done a kickback in my life, and I've got pretty substantial glutes. The best way for building glutes is getting a deep squat. And you're actually pretty blessed as well, aren't you?
I've got a big ass.
Yeah. But I was putting it nicely. You do have a big arse. So getting deep in a squat, half reps aren't going to build your glutes. They're going to hit your quads, but you're not going to get deep enough to really get into the muscle. I think
there's a study. It's around 90, isn't it?
Yeah.
The glutes start coming
90
in.
degrees for glute activation. Then
stiff leg dead.
Stiff leg dead. Provided that you're really dragging up through the heels and trying to get that hip extension at the top, really pushing your hips forward, squeezing your glutes. Same at the top of a squat. Most people go up to the top, but they don't actually squeeze their glutes and extend the hips forward. Yeah, it's a bit awkward sitting down, but I'll give it a go. And I think one of the best ones is lunges, and reverse lunges particularly, I find really hit them.
All of these on paper do. I think what most people struggle with is the activation. I mean, they're going to fire all the time. They have to, but the better the activation you get, the more you're going to feel it. So don't neglect them in the warm up, like just bodyweight glute bridges.
Yeah.
Even just contracting your glutes and getting that ability to contract them while standing, standing in shopping lines and
just butt clenching,
just
all
butt
day.
clenching, just early, like squeeze. Yeah,
I can do it.
Yeah, and then just working on that and just getting that mind muscle connection. I mean, it's the same as anything really, like biceps, for example, and these are all your big exercises. I think with glute kickbacks, it is more of a throw it in there if you just want to get that big old booty pump at the end, and if you've got time for it and you enjoy it and it makes you feel good, or as a warm-up exercise actually, just to get that. I mean, I'd always start with just bodyweight glute bridges, or single leg glute bridges off a bench, and just work on getting that, focus on that contraction, and then when you get onto the bigger lifts, they're gonna be there. But yeah, walking lunges as well. Single leg, because with single leg you've got the stability coming in as well. So that, at that point, you'll tell if your glutes aren't firing because your stability at the hip level will be not great. But yeah, you can't. I mean, for me, squats are great. Squats and leggings even better. And if you film yourself, +10 on glute development. So okay,
this guy.
But Ken, if you want to post in the comment section after this about your theory on leggings, I am intrigued.
I won't be reading it. I don't care.
No, so okay, so this is quite an in-depth one. I reckon you're better suited for this one. I'm not just putting you on the spot, but so this is actually Faro, who's a client of mine, and she says, my friend wanted me to ask you, he's sitting at 7.89%. That's very precise.
That's very precise.
Trains 5 to 6 times a week, mainly upper body, no legs yet. Oh.
Okay. What do you do 6 times a week with no legs? That's 2 sessions gone already.
He's doing high intensity training and he wants to get his body fat lower. He's tried carb cycling. He's currently trying intermittent fasting, but wants to know what he can do to get lower for that ripped look. I mean, you should be looking pretty ripped at 7.8%.
You're leaner than me. Jesus. I'm pretty shredded.
Leaner than me.
I'm pretty lean just now. I'm not usually this lean. This is like one of the few times I can say this.
Yeah. Okay.
But so like, let's say we're sub 10%.
You should have visible abs and everything.
You should have visible abs. If we're trying to get, stage lean or let's call it cover model lean. Your Ryan Terry's and Kurt Miller and that lot. We're talking that lean. Really, carb cycle, intermittent fasting are ways of creating calorie deficits. You want to drop body fat, you have to go into further deficit. Your metabolism is going to slow every couple of weeks when you're in this calorie deficit. So you're eating less calories than you're expending. Eventually your metabolism catches up with that. We need to drop the calories lower. You can do that by increasing train volume, or in other words, doing more exercise, or by dropping your calories even further. That's 2 ways of doing it. I would say start training legs.
Definitely start training legs.
it takes so much out of you. It takes so much energy to do a proper leg session. I'm not going to get into hormones and things like that, but training legs is hugely beneficial. You burn so many calories. You'll see a huge difference just by adding in some decent squats. If you don't train legs already, don't go too heavy. Stick to 10, 12 reps, nice deep controlled reps. It's a full body compound movement, so it's perfect. I would add them in before I add in more HIIT training.
I mean, the only thing I'm thinking, right, is if you're sitting at 7 and not feeling that you look ripped, whether you have enough muscle mass initially, if you're looking quite Justin Bieberish, I mean, at that body fat, you could probably now spend some time just building up some muscle nicely. I mean, if you do watch this, if you can, Farah hasn't mentioned the name, but where you got that body fat done, because I mean, honestly, if I get down to 7% and I'm not looking ripped, I'd be pretty upset with myself.
I know guys that have been on stage at an accurate 6%. Like, that is lean. What's that? We'll get another question.
No. Okay. I would, yeah, like Tom says, well, carb cycling, intermittent fasting, they're just tools. There's nothing magical about them. To be honest as well, when you start going below 7%, if you're starting at, well, let's say 7.9%, you're not going to be feeling too great. Anything lower than that. So I'd say maybe it's time to first of all start training legs and putting on some decent muscle mass. But again, that is a slow process. So you know, you don't have to do the bulk and cut cycle. In fact, no, you don't have to. Don't do the bulk and cut thing. Just concentrate on having a moderate surplus, just eating some more food. You don't want to jump up in body fat, and then just take your time and put on some muscle. And then you'll find that if you can get back down to 7% with, you know, some more muscle on, especially if you've never taken the time to do that, then I mean, if you're trying, what, 7%? Are you talking like maybe manipulation to get lower than that after that? Like, you're gonna have to start using some kind of more advanced methods, right?
Yeah, I would be bringing carb cycling around about then to be creating that further deficit. Yeah, you start to have to use manipulation, but you're already using carb cycling. But do you know how many calories you're taking in a day? You could be carb cycling, but then eating 120 grams of fat, which then would put you maybe over your maintenance calories. So therefore, you're not actually burning any fat at the end of the day. Carbs don't cause you to be fat. Calories cause you to be fat. So you need to know what your maintenance calories are in the first place, and then take them into the deficit. But
your body's going to be fighting you freaking hard at this point to do anything it can to stop you.
Yeah.
So unless you've got a reason to go lower, I mean,
it's pretty
if you
miserable.
walk on the beach at 7%, like, people are going to look
Heads are going to turn.
Yeah, I mean, they should. So I don't know, maybe it is. The one thing I'm thinking of is maybe there's just not enough muscle there to not give you that rip look that you're after. I mean, obviously, having not spoken to you, I'm not entirely sure if that's the case, but that would be my guess, is that it would be time to put some muscle on, because that's low. So great work on getting that low, by the way, as well. That's impressive. That takes some commitment.
You've got to be disciplined.
Okay.
Hashtag
committed. Yeah, so, okay, and we've got another one just in. So, this one specifically for, where's it gone? This one specifically for you. I've noticed that you're training with your top off a lot recently. Does this have anything to do with increases in muscle protein synthesis, or is it a more anabolic way to train? Also, does it get you more ladies in the gym?
I don't think it does any of those things. I don't even want to know who that's from. Let's just.
That's from me.
I've been training with my shirt off because this is the first time in months that I've been lean. And
share the love.
Yeah, I did a video today where I did some foam rolling, and I took my shirt off because when we were filming, my t-shirt kept rolling up in the roller when I was rolling back. That's a legit excuse.
Yeah. What happened to all the other videos?
Oh, same thing, you know. Box jumps, it just came off.
It gets too sweaty and it like sticks to you, doesn't it?
Yeah. I only do it when it's quiet.
Yeah. Like 20 people around.
Yeah.
Oh, Rossi's on again. Okay, what sort of deficit should we aim for the body fat reduction? Is a massive deficit better than a deficit of... I like to work with percentages. I'm not sure how you work. I reckon around 20%, 15% would be fine. The advantages of going too low, that the process will be too slow and you might get a bit of a head fuck in the sense that you don't feel you're getting anywhere. Yeah. Too fast, you are obviously going to lose weight quicker. There's a higher risk of losing some muscle with it. You're also going to get more hunger, less energy, more cravings, feel pretty crabby. You probably start to lose your libido. So while the temptation for a quick, fast kind of, 30 or 25 plus is tempting. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. It depends on your specifics. But I would say start with 15 to 20. Monitor how you feel. Do you want to? It's always something that people neglect. I think, I don't know if you get this, but it's feedback. You're going to get a little bit hungry, right? Because you're dieting. But if you're waking up or 24 hours a day, all you can think about is food, that's not part of the process. It doesn't have to be like that. If you're craving weird things, if your energy's shocking, if your workouts are shit, all of these are signs that you're not, you might be going a bit too hard on the body.
I think as a general, if we're going to just throw some numbers out there. So if you're saying 10, sort of 15, 20%, let's say your average person starting out at 2,500s. Or having dieted for a while, or 2,500, so 10% is 250, 20%, you're talking about 500. 500 calories a day for 7 days is 3,500 at the end of the week, which is how much you need to drop, arguably to drop a pound of body fat. So,
or is it?
Well, that's what they say. So if it's 3,500 a week, to drop a pound of body fat, that's what you want to be dropping to keep as much muscle as you can there. So I would say you're looking for a percentage maybe of around 500, between 300 to 500 probably, depending on where your start point is. Deficit, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but then you're 500% deficit. This will probably be the last video you ever see.
500 calorie deficit per day.
Basically, take it slow. Pay attention to HEC, hunger, energy, and cravings. Make sure they're all in check. Log your workouts, because if you notice that your strength is going down considerably, you've probably gone too hard too soon. One thing that gets to me is people associate like making progress, specifically in fat loss, that there has to be some form of suffering. Like, if you're not miserable, you're not doing it right. And then after each session, if you're not walking out on your hands and knees, then you're not training hard enough, which I think is complete bullshit. It's this hardcore, I'm holier than now mentality. And it's just this deprivation. It's the deprivation of everything, like deprivation of enjoyment, deprivation of foods that you like, deprivation of alcohol, deprivation of all these. People think like, oh, it's like the dude, like from the Da Vinci Code, and he wears that. Yeah, that thing, Silas. On his leg, because he has to punish himself for all. It's like people feel like, that's if I'm doing fat loss, I need this, and I mean, and also I think it's because a lot of people on social media post the perfect image, right? And so people therefore feel that this is, in order to look like that, I have to do this without knowing on what's going on behind the scenes.
Well, so don't compare your behind the scenes to somebody else's highlight reel. I think that's a great way to look at it.
Hashtag quote of the day.
There you go. They're posting I've just done my cardio. It's first thing in the morning. And they post 2 of their perfect meals. You don't see the days when they crash and they had a pizza and then they start digging that sharp thing into the leg to punish themselves. And then they're back on the treadmill at 9 p.m. at night, literally walking through tears. Like, why would you want to do that to yourself?
Yeah. I don't know.
But people do. They make you feel like you should be doing it as well. Why didn't you get up at 5 a.m. and do fasted cardio? Well, maybe I didn't want to. Maybe it didn't. There's no need. Maybe I did my cardio at 3 p.m. Maybe I did it after work at 6. Maybe I wouldn't need to do cardio that day.
It's just getting it done.
Yeah.
What difference does it make if you do it in the morning or in the evening? It's like, absolutely, if you work out at 9 at night because you have to work out at 9 at night, then work out at 9 at night. But you're not going to get better results because you're training when most people are chilling out watching TV. And that's what gets to me. Why? And in an industry that essentially is aiming to support people. But then I just think, everyone's got their biases. you know, and so you just, everyone plays by them. And
I say all this. I've done all of this. I was a huge, like, getting up and doing fast cardio. I was training 3 times a day when I did my first competition. And it was ludicrous. And I lost so much muscle, but I couldn't see it because I was just obsessed with being leaner and leaner. And I was looking at the guys I was competing against, and they were absolutely skinless on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then I turned up, and everyone was tiny because everyone was just battling with each other to get like lower and lower.
Yeah.
And that's like, that was Ben West and I, who I work with. We joke about that now because that was our first competition. We saw each other on Twitter, so we knew how each other looked. And then when we actually turned up, we're both a bit like, all right, you're not this amazing, like, superhuman that you look like with amazing downlighting and that filtered picture on Twitter. But we killed ourselves for it. And it was a complete waste of time. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to come back to something in a minute, but I think that's the other thing is that simply following anything is never a good idea. I mean, there's principles to be followed, but you know, like, you see someone in good shape and you simply follow their diet plan, and there's no consideration for any context of how miserable are they doing that plan, or what's their mindset when they're doing that plan. What are they giving up? Which sacrifices have they made, and are you prepared to make the same ones? And then, so if you'd have done that show and then were to do the same again and make yourself that miserable, you obviously haven't learned. So you know, and that's where people will go on diets and they'll follow this kind of recommendation of, okay, so this is what so-and-so does. I did that. It didn't work for me. I haven't got what it takes. Yeah. It's like, no, that's just not the right diet for you. And it's clearly not set up to be what you need in your life. However, that doesn't mean you're not out for diets full stop. Learn the principles behind that method and try it in a different way maybe and come back. But which brings us on to, because I know we were going to talk about this at some point. Okay, we've got a question actually, so I'm going to come back to that in a minute.
We'll go back. Let's carry this on. We'll go to the question.
Because obviously you were, because I think this is going to be valuable to a lot of people watching, is because you were going to compete again, and you've obviously now you've made that transition into more of an athletic you've kind of gone like full circle, which I think I just read ties had been in with this, so it worked out quite nicely. So you were going to do UK BFF.
Yep.
And then you pulled out, and obviously we had a conversation after that when we went for lunch. So just explain why it is that you decided to, because obviously the thing is you haven't really ever gotten out of shape in what most people would consider, like, put it this way, your out of shape is what most people would consider, like, they'd be chuffed to get there. So for you to then, why did you not want to take it to that? Because I saw you after your first comp, and then we had a conversation about your second one. Why did you not want to take it to that level again?
It's really, really simple. I've never dieted for a show and trained for a show and enjoyed it.
Okay.
The only part I enjoyed was actually being on stage, and that lasted in UK BFF and in the show before that was Fit Factor Body Power. That lasted about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes of a little bit of a high because you've got a crowd cheering you on. You can hear people in the audience.
One of them.
3 minutes of that took 12 weeks plus of me just hating it. Training, when people say I was on the grind, I'm on my grind. That's what it became for me. And I don't like boasting about that. Why are you boasting about something that's not enjoyable? You should love your training. And I stopped enjoying it. Stopped enjoying training. Didn't like dieting. Had days when I was moody and tired, didn't want to talk. Was trying to set up a business. And that just basically got put in the back burner because I wasn't thinking, how am I going to get more clients? I was thinking, how am I going to burn more body fat today?
Yeah,
it takes over your life completely. It takes over your mindset, and I don't think I've got to be careful here because I've got a lot of friends who compete and they do it well. I didn't do it very well, and the reason I didn't do well is because I didn't find it fun. They maybe are better at it. They've maybe done it more. I got to a point where I thought, why am I doing something that I'm not having fun at? When I used to play rugby, when I used to do athletics, when I used to ski, I loved every minute of it.
Yeah,
there was nights when you went out training, it was cold and wet. Didn't really like that, but
fewer than 12 weeks of solid.
Yeah, shit. Exactly.
Yeah,
getting up and going and thinking I've got to do this session today, and it's a low calorie, a low carb day. You're thinking I just don't have the energy for this. Your brain starts to go as well because you have low carbs and things, and then your cognitive function decreases, and it's not fun for me. What's fun for me is what I do now, which is I test myself against myself. I test my strength against other people in the gym and on the internet, because I want to, if somebody does something cool, like I don't know, let's say a handstand into a backflip into a burpee, I want to do that.
You should get involved with this Insta battle that's going on. Have you seen it? I'll show you afterwards. It's pretty cool.
I saw something, somebody's doing a wall squat or something earlier.
I'll check it out. It's pretty cool, but check it out. But
I just want to do cool stuff.
But so the thing is, I think this is important, and this is why I wanted you to talk about it, because you've come from a place, like you've got to the stage level, which is as far as you can get, and then decided not to, because basically, like, the cost is high. And I think this is where everyone is unique in the cost that you're willing to pay to get to your goals, and what you want to do is going to be different from the next person, which is like you were saying about people who still do it. They're just prepared to pay a slightly higher cost because it means more to them.
It means more to them.
Which is why obviously we hang out a lot, because I do it because I enjoy it, and I do it to as a foundation to be more energetic and everything, and other things I enjoy, which is why we're quite happy going for beers, and I mean, I did my photo shoot, and that's the closest I've ever come to doing anything like you, but I can vouch for that. I mean, that's the worst I've ever felt and the best I've ever looked, and it normally goes that way. Unless you're doing this stuff day in, day out.
I know guys that do it well, or well enough that they would do it again, but there's few people that can cope with it mentally.
Yeah,
there's a lot of.
Well, I think a lot of people.
People that put on a kind of a brave face, maybe.
Yeah.
There's definitely a bit
happier than they actually are.
Yeah, there's a lot of I'm loving this and this is great, and behind closed doors it's a very different story. I don't think that's a healthy place to be.
And I just don't like the way that getting in shape is now, like, the next step is stage. Like, honestly, and like going back to
that's my view of it. Why do I have to get? If I'm lean, why do I then have to get super lean to go and compete on stage? Why is that the next step? Why can I not just be, 8-9% performing really well, being as strong as I can be, looking how I want to look and being happy? Why does it need to be, he's 8%, but he's not 6%. I'm miserable. No, I'm actually 8% and really fucking happy about it.
Well, that's it. And, at that point, you can still have, enjoy drink every so often if you want, or, you've made that choice. And this is, stop ranting, but this is that thing. He's like, okay, I'd rather have a drink than get to 6% body fat. I'd rather be able to go out with the guys that who aren't into fitness, which is all, a lot of my friends who are in decision stuff, and enjoy a beer with them. And I accept that I might have to lose 2% body fat for that, but you know what? My happiness and my beer with the lads. My
2% for a night out.
Well, my that beers with the lads and like catching up with you and everything is more important to me than the digit of my body fat. So there's no reason to go balls out the other way, obviously. But I'm just saying, up until a certain point, the cost will get beyond what you're prepared to pay, unless you've got something special about your mindset or you really want it badly. I would honestly find out where that point is and not push yourself beyond it, because it's not a happy place. So
I actually saw a tweet earlier from Nick Walsh. Shout out to Nick Walsh. If you put getting shredded ahead of family, friends, or your career, you need to reassess your priorities. And that's completely right. If being shredded is all that matters to you, you probably need to have a look in the mirror and reassess what really matters to you. Because I think
I don't think you should sacrifice your friends and family for your shreds.
Right, let's go to another question, because I knew we'd talk about that. I knew we'd talk about that and I'd start ranting. I don't have any problem with competing, it's just not for me. Right, so okay.
We've got two coming in, so we've got 10 minutes left, so we'll
okay, if you could go back in time to 16 years old, what training advice would you give yourself? Do you want to start on that?
I'd say get in the gym earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, I played rugby, not to the level that you did, and it just wasn't as big a part of it. I think now especially it's changed massively.
A lot more strength over skills.
I would just say train. I got into training properly at like 21. I mean, I basically...
we're a little bit different on that one, but...
I moved down to London, and
do you think
a DJ friend and a nightclub promoter friend, and so Tuesday to Saturday, I mean, we were out, and then I just got to the point where I became. This is going back to that cost thing. I went the other end. Like I was just because I was in London, so I'm not from London originally. I'm from Norwich, out on the East Coast. I came down as like a big city, lots of women, lots of clubs. All the lads were down here, and we never used to have to pay for drinks or anything because of that. So
you just didn't start till 21. Do you think that?
Well, I kind of had like a hiatus from sport.
Do you think that hindered your progress to where you are now? That you left it a little bit later to start training? Is that why?
Do you know? I don't think it would in the sense that if I was consistent through all those years, massively, of course.
Yeah.
The thing is now I'm like, I'm the biggest I've been. I've put in some solid work over the last few years, and I haven't had to sacrifice stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hindsight's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I think, well, obviously, on paper, if I'd have trained all those years, I just don't know if I would have trained all those years. I kind of look back sometimes and just think, well, I know it sounds a bit cliche, but obviously at any given point, it was exactly what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
And
true.
And then to be honest, then I went the other way, and I got into the gym and I started getting them endorphins, and I was like, I had my protein shakes, and like,
were you taking Muscle Tech? Be honest.
I was taking PhD Synergy. It was cheaper when I started.
Oh, yeah.
It was like an unknown brand, and that was like fucking like the top one. So I
you would say start training earlier.
I would say just find what you enjoy as soon as you can. Like if you, a lot of people get into it, obviously when it's too late, right? They get unhappy, and that's their like not the rock bottom, but that's what motivates them to train.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a little bit of enjoyment in it, find something you enjoy and just start doing something consistently. Because I went from nothing to all out, and then kind of back to I did the yo-yo training. I mean, my diet's always been alright, but I did yo-yo training, and then now I'm at a point of balance where I train 4 times a week. Like yourself, and just in terms of just having that happy place, and just once you find that, it's so easy to be consistent because you're doing what you want to do.
Yeah,
and like if you feel
what you want to do, that's
and just do it regularly.
Thing. Yeah,
but obviously there are certain boxes to tick, but there is a little bit of scope in that. I mean, lifting for me should be the cornerstone of any program. But after that, if you want to throw a Zumba class in there, then do it. I mean, unless it's the only thing with more, because we do live in a more and more society, is if something's getting more than something's getting less. And going back to the tweet, as long as that less isn't time with your friends and things that you enjoy and family, then do what you want to do. I think, there is no 100% right way to do it. And people look for that still.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be the program that makes me hench.
Yeah.
Like that program exists. They're not going to read Arnie and follow Arnie's program. I mean, everyone's done it, but I think that's, you're not Arnie.
That's what I would say to 16-year-old me would be.
Yeah.
Don't train like a bodybuilder. You're not a 10-year plus experienced bodybuilder, so you don't need to train that way. There are much better ways for people starting out to train. You want to be doing something like a 4-day split. If you're playing sport, it might be a 3-day split. Yeah. You train 3 days a week, you probably do a push-pull and a leg day or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Or
full body.
Or 3 full body. I used to, when I first started training, I did 3 full bodies. Then I got to about 17, 18, thought I knew better than what the coaches were saying. Started doing arms and chest on separate days and benching every single day because everyone wanted the strongest bench. Waste of time. I wasted years, up until I was about 21, training like a bodybuilder, because I thought, well, I'm going to put on more muscle, and that's how they do it. My muscle wasn't used to doing that, so I was putting too much stimulus. I was training to annihilation, not to stimulation, and that was the problem. And if I'd done what the people who actually know what they were doing had told me to do, it would have been a lot more.
But you know that now. Advanced. Would you have done it if someone told you? If a top coach came up to you at 17
I had some pretty good coaches that told me, and I did their programs, but then I'd be in the gym afterwards doing an extra 10 sets of chest or something.
Put your hand out, Tommy.
Yeah, that's me. Didn't train smart. Right, let's
jump on to the next question. Train hard, but train smart.
Train smart. Yeah.
Too many people train too hard and waste too much time getting nowhere. Honestly, it's a lot easier than people make out. And not easy, a lot simpler. A bit of both. Okay, what's the best time of day to eat certain foods, macros, or is a balance through the day better? View on meats and nuts breakfast. I prefer... for the 99% of the population, just a balance throughout the day. I personally love carbs in the morning. I've tried the meats and nuts.
Do you think there's a benefit to nutrient timing?
Depends who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, no, not really.
Let's go for unassisted athletes, so natural athletes.
But
No.
I keep things as simple as possible, so I'd say no. So I'd say the one thing I would say is purely from a practical standpoint with carbs, if you're on the lower end of a carb, so your macros are on the lower end, let's say, I would say keeping them to the evening is a good shout, purely from the sense that A, if you eat out in a restaurant, you don't have to be the arsehole that gets fussy with the menu. B, having carbs in the evening is great, and it's always something to look forward to. Like if you eat them all at breakfast and then you've got to go the whole day, it's not a pleasant experience.
That's the way I do it, because if I've only got 150 grams of carbs after training, an evening meal, because I get to have carbs at night. I can go with it through the day, but then I get them. It'll help me sleep. I think it's just a good way to do it. But carb backloading, if you want to look at it like that, probably not going to benefit.
It's nothing magical, is it? It's not magic. It's a preferential thing. Whatever, again,
all preference.
What you're going to stick to. I mean, I feel better having carbs in terms of concentration in the morning. I feel having carbs, I reckon that the difference it would make in terms of percentages, if it makes you miserable, is not bloody worth it. I can't see that it's going to have that big an impact.
It's not going to benefit you enough to make it worthwhile to actually time it around.
And I would never recommend training fasted, because I've had to give sugar drinks to so many people who have nearly passed out and freaking been sick because they're trying to go too extreme. Moderation.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a minute left.
We can go over a little bit.
If go over, we can keep it running. Let's keep it going.
Well, I've got to eat, man. I'm quite hungry. Okay, so any more questions? There is actually quite a cool questions little app on the can anyone see it?
Hangouts.
Where's it gone? I've lost you. Come back to me.
Here you go. Okay.
There we go. So yeah, you can ask questions. There should be a panel for questions. If not, fire them in at Twitter at Tom Wright Fit PT. No, you're not actually that, are you? Why are you?
Tom Wright _fit
or
at Carl Committed 2Ks.
It's my little assistant there. My social media assistant. Awesome. If there's no questions, then I think we might wrap it up. It is 8:45, and what time are you up tomorrow?
5:30 every day.
See the cute conversations we have. What time are you up, honey?
Is that what time you're waking me up?
Right, we're going to leave it open for one more minute, see if we get any questions. If not, we're going to wrap this first one up. But if you have enjoyed it, then we will do it again. So please let us know, because if not, then it is essentially us just talking to ourselves, and we do that enough anyway.
We just decided to put a microphone and a camera in front of us. It's really just self-indulgence more than anything.
It's the most narcissistic form of social media we could do, apart from selfie. Because we can see ourselves as well, which is actually a little bit awkward, isn't it?
But hopefully some of that was quite interesting and helpful to some of you guys. And
we'd quite like to have maybe do like a bit of a wine tasting sometimes or something like that, some bourbon, or get some. My friend Julian offered to give us some advice on ale and beards. Oh, beards! We both did have beards at one point. You've got a little bit of one now, you just can't see it because of his
complexion.
But ale, I mean, ale is something I feel they kind of become trendy now, haven't they? Like craft beers and ales. I just can't do it. I'm sorry.
Nah, we went to a craft beer place the other night and we had to drink them. I didn't enjoy it.
No, it's not for me. I've got into red wine at the moment. That's quite enjoyable.
Is that for the
resveratrol?
That stuff.
Anti-aging. There was a study today, there's an article today. It's the same as one gym session. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, imagine that. You do 3 gym sessions, you do 2 gym sessions, and drink a bottle of wine.
Don't do that every week.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have to find out where there is. Oh, we've got a ping.
That's just basically saying
that's some feedback. Thank you very much for the feedback.
Thank you, Ross.
So if you do, let us know on Twitter or Google Plus. I still can't really get to grips with, or Facebook, and just leave us a comment. And let us know what you thought and what you'd like to see. Like whether you do like the live Q&A format or whether you just want us to go into talks. I mean, obviously we have gone off on tangents, and that probably will happen 99% of the time.
Yeah.
But obviously we do want your questions, because we do want to make sure that we're helping you guys get some useful information. And it's little things like, it's a particular time of the day. I mean, if this works for you, it works for us. And so, well, we can change it, can't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the afternoon doesn't work for most people.
Or it'd be difficult for us, I guess, as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll find a time that suits everybody. It'll all be recorded anyway, so you can always watch back.
And what I quite like to try, and this, because this is the first one, so it's a bit of an experiment, is you can get a certain amount of video people on. So we could almost have it like, so like if you're the first people to join, you can come and join and do video like a round table.
We know some pretty cool people in fitness.
So we could do like, get more people involved and be like Knights of the Round Table, Knights of the Google box. They call it Google. Oh, that's already a thing.
Google box.
I thought I recognised that. I was like, that's too good for just come to my head. Jesus, damn it. Oh, sorry. But yeah, so that would be cool. Just let us know. And we will take it from there. So we're going to take a break. Not we're going to take a break. We're going to go. We're going to end it. Not us.
No,
we're too good together.
Yeah.
But we will. We'll do this again. I mean, I've enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed it?
I've had a great time. Thank you for having me.
That's right. You're more than welcome. So yeah, and we will try and get other guests on, and we will try and make it. We'll start with once a week. Let's not push the boat out, and then so we'll try and maybe do it next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. So we'll get the word out a little bit earlier, because we're going to give 24 hours notice, and get some more questions in. But I hope that helped. We're going to sign off, and we will speak to Yao soon.
Thanks for your questions, guys. Thanks for watching.
Winner.